Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Show and Happy New Year to everybody. First show of 2026. It is January the 4th. I hope you fellas are doing very good this morning. We got some football to talk to, some very controversial football to talk about, but football nevertheless. We're going to start off today with some college football. Obviously, we have the playoff set for next week. We have Ole Miss playing Ohio State and Indiana playing Oregon in a rematch of what happened earlier this year when Indiana went to Oregon and beat them in Oregon. What are you looking for in these games? I mean, Miami is coming off a high. I mean, you beat Ohio State, and Ole Miss has got something to prove. This is going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be a really good game because there's emotions are going to be high on both sides.
It's going to be
on this, Keith.
It's going to be an interesting week. First of all, Miami's playing really, really, really well since they had their stumbles. They played better against better competition. And I've said this for a while. There's talent that I feel as anybody in the country. They don't bring that talent every week to the field that they have in these two playoff games. And if they continue to play defense and rush the quarterback the way that they have and run the football the way they have and not have to rely on Carson Beck to throw the ball 40 times, which is not going to be good. I think they will win this game. And Ole Miss is now right back kind of where they started. It's going to be an interesting week because Pete Golding said yesterday, I don't know what's going on with the assistants. Him and Kiffin say they have an agreement or had an agreement of what would happen all the way through the playoffs, not just until the portal opened. But these assistants now, it's got really complicated because with the portal open, they're now busy with recruiting plus getting ready for this game, and it's just more of a distraction. And kudos to Ole Miss and those players for playing for themselves and the coach, maybe the coach that stayed. I don't know what they're playing for. I don't think they're playing against Lane Kiffin. I think just want to go out and win. And kudos to them for staying staying focused and playing as well as they have. They played really well the other night against Georgia, who I thought would beat them. So I think Miami this will be a really good football game because you've got a really good defense going against a really, really good and interesting offense. Charlie Weiss Jr. being there and not being there might be the difference in this game.
He's going to be there. I follow Locked On LSU and a guy by the name of Matt Moscona. He is entrenched deeply with he has really good sources on both sides. And so it looks like all the coaches minus Charlie Weiss, like you said, will be back at LSU and remain at LSU. So Charlie Weiss will definitely keep going. I believe he's going to be coaching for Ole Miss, but the rest of the coaches will be back at LSU attending to day-to-day operations and dealing with the transfer portal and the signees. So it's a big ordeal, but again, as we talked about yesterday on our debate show, I blame both Ole Miss and I blame Lane Kiffin for even allowing this to even happen. I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't think they were anticipating beating Georgia. And that was the main thing.
This story's not going to end even with an Ole Miss loss because some of the players are going to go through the transfer portal and join Lane Kiffin, and the word's probably going to come out. At least rumors are going to be that the assistant coaches were trying to persuade them that their mind hadn't been made up. Relationships are continuing right now with the assistant coaches. And that could be very persuasive to a college kid. They might not care about Lane Kiffin that much one way or the other, but the relationships they might have with the assistant coaches could tip the scales, towards them. Some of the Ole Miss players going to LSU, and there's going to be some backlash as far as that goes. How many are going to go? Imagine a fan number go there in the transfer portal. That would be very interesting.
If just Chambliss and Lacey go, that's going to be interesting enough for sure. So
yeah, well, this is the thing. Chambliss may not be going anywhere for anybody because of the medical issue and trying to get the waiver to be able to play another year. But with that being said, this wasn't anticipated. I mean, come on, you didn't think, okay, I allow my players to go and coach for you, you didn't think that we wouldn't the possibility that we would try to get some of the players to have them come back, and you allowed them. You can't have it both ways if you're Ole Miss. To me, it's like you can't just say, okay, I want you guys to come coach. I don't want Lane Kiffin to come in, but they're working for Lane Kiffin. What do you expect? I mean, I don't get that logic, but ultimately I don't blame Ole Miss. I don't blame Lane Kiffin. I blame the system. None of this shouldn't be done the way it's been done. It should have been far out after football is over, where there's transfer portal and there's signing game day. I mean, first day signing. All that should have been done after the season. I mean, after they should follow the NFL model, the way they do things, and it'd be a lot easier.
But James, the reason they might be loyal to Lane Kiffin isn't because of loyalty in itself, the assistant coaches. They need a job. If they don't stick with Lane Kiffin 100%, there's no guarantee they're going to be back at Ole Miss next year. Who knows for sure, what the situation is going to be, what the coach is going to decide over there, whoever's going to be coaching next year.
Quite frankly, if they were going to tell Lane Kiffin he couldn't be there because he'd be a walking billboard for LSU for a month or 6 weeks, they should have said it for everybody that was leaving with him to be consistent.
Let me ask you this, Keith. Hypothetically, let's say Ole Miss decided, we're going to let Lane Kiffin coach through the playoffs, no problem, then he can go on his way. Would that have hurt Ole Miss or helped them or what?
You're mute. You're mute, Keith.
Sorry about that. The fault lies in, as what James said, it's the calendar and no more. The coach. This is not the last time this is going to happen.
No, Keith, that wasn't the question. You're avoiding the issue. Would it have helped Ole Miss had they allowed Lane Kiffin to coach through? Let's backtrack a little. And this wasn't even going to be an issue. No controversy. You could coach through the playoffs.
No.
Would they have been shooting themselves in the foot, Ole Miss, by allowing that or not?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not letting somebody stay at work for me who's going to be working at the same time for another company. I would never have done that. The real world that doesn't.
You're a competitor too, on top of it.
And right. This isn't like John. People say, "Well, John Summerall stayed at Tulane and Morris stayed at North Texas." That was totally different situations. They're taking steps up. They're going to different leagues, and they're not competing directly with the teams that they're going to. And this is a unique situation right now. It probably won't be the last time it happens. But again, the irony here is Lane Kiffin left to have a better chance of winning a national championship, and his team is still in the hunt for the national championship that he left. He should have stayed anyway. That's regardless. That's regardless of what's going on now. What I think he's probably set himself up for failure going forward. But whatever.
Do you think he would have stayed? Do you think the situation would have been different if we had a regulation in the NCAA where you can do all your transfer portals and everything after the national championship? Do you think that would change his mind anywhere?
There's going to have to be something put in. First of all, the calendar's got to change, right? And again, I don't care about enrollment, how long it takes. You have to get in by a certain date to be enrolled for the next semester. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. They can figure this out. If they can get some of these kids who can barely read and write a degree, they can figure out how to get them enrolled late. To me, they got to change the calendar and fix this whole mess. Plus, there's got to be some penalty for these coaches that jump, in the middle of contracts more than just money. Maybe you put a restriction that they can't play in the playoff the first year of their new contract. Something that penalizes them when they're leaving a team in a lurch that's playing for a national championship. It's just not. It's not fair to the kids. But again, where's the loyalty lie? The kids aren't loyal. The coaches aren't loyal. The programs aren't loyal to their conferences. Nobody's loyal to anybody. It's just an ugly, ugly situation. I don't know how it gets fixed. I really don't know how to fix it. I wish I knew. Congress getting involved is not going to fix it, by the way. It's only going to make it worse.
They can't even fix half the problems in this country. Yeah, Indiana and Oregon are playing again. as I mentioned before, for the second time this season. Indiana did go to Oregon and beat them in Oregon. I still kind of like Indiana in this. I think Indiana is probably the most superior team right now out of the four that are left. Does anybody have any other kinds of?
Well, you know what? No one's talking about Mendoza and Moore. Could the number one overall pick be decided in head-to-head competition?
That's
right now,
point,
it
Jack.
seems like Mendoza is certainly going to be it by the Raiders, but certainly the equation changes. Imagine Dante Moore comes up really big and Mendoza's flat.
I don't think this game affects it myself that much. One game shouldn't, they got all kinds of film on these guys. I don't think one game's going to have that big effect. I think Indiana's the best, most well-rounded team left here. Oregon played great on defense, I think. They played great. Or Texas Tech was just horrendous on offense, or a little both. But I think they're the most complete team left in this playoff, for sure.
Offensively, Indiana, when you just look at them, that last game they just played, they were just dominant offensively. I mean, the run game, the two running backs, the two-headed monster they had, and the quarterback just was carving up that defense like sliced turkey. I mean, it just didn't look like they didn't look rusty. They didn't look like they didn't have, their game together. They just came out against Alabama. And like, mind you, people could say Alabama didn't deserve to be in there. They did win 10+ games. They got in there, and you got to play who's in front of you. And Alabama just got their butts whipped. And I don't think it's going to be as bad against Oregon. I think Oregon is going to come to play. But I do think that Indiana still will be the better team, and they will be at home. And I think home field advantage will play a little bit of role here. They went to Oregon and beat them there. I think they're going to beat them at home.
That's the key.
Well, just as far as Alabama goes, and Chiefs made a statement, one game shouldn't affect draft stock. Well, look what it did for Ty Simpson. He was projected as a possible first-round selection in a later part. He may have fell to the third round with the way he performed. I know he got hurt during the game. I understand that. But he performed very poorly.
He's been on and off all season, though, right, Keith?
But he was projected as the third best quarterback coming out of the draft.
That's not saying much in this. That's not saying much in this.
And a bad quarterback.
Not the best. Right.
He already had a mediocre draft status to begin with. He went in the late first round. Somebody was really reaching. I don't think he hurt himself that badly. Plus, he was banged up, and he played a lot better this year than I thought he would, for sure. I did not give him the kudos that I should have before the season. But again, it's different on the next level.
I just want to give a shout out to Trinidad Chambliss and Dante Moore, two quarterbacks in the Final Four from Michigan, one from Grand Rapids. Of course, Dante Moore is from Detroit. So that's good to see. I like that. Get them out there.
Good stuff.
Michigan putting some people out there. Hey, you can't let the South take over all the time.
Yeah, I literally was going to say it's really refreshing and good morning, everybody. It's really refreshing.
Good morning.
Really refreshing to see new teams actually be this deep in. And of course, we've seen Oregon previously, but to see Indiana in and not see Georgia, not see Auburn, not see Alabama, and not see the Ohio State is just one of those things that it's like, okay, the tables have turned. Like we're seeing a new era, and this will give us an opportunity to see new exposure out there for people we may not have gotten an opportunity to see, because once you get on this stage, everybody's taking note of who you are.
There could be some competitive game. I think this is going to probably be the most entertaining I have seen the Final Four be in a while. That's for sure. They're going to be really good games. Anybody else on this topic? Because I'm about to close this out and go right to the NFL.
Cocaine.
There you go. Okay. There you go. All right. So, speaking of the NFL, we had two games yesterday. We had two games one for the NFC crown and their division, basically, and the other one for the NFC South. Tampa Bay and Panthers played first. Panthers lost that game. I believe it was 16-14, right? Yeah, 16-14. A lot of controversy in that game. A lot of bad calls. Kind of bad calls in both the refs and the game itself, as far as the coaching is considered. Sonia, because it is your team, I'm going to let you go off first because I know you've been waiting on this time to do this. So I'm going to let you have the floor.
Thank you. So first of all, I'm here to take my whipping. I know you guys, I told y'all I wasn't going to be available. I was like, oh, let me just go be available. This game was ugly. I'm going to be honest on all fronts. We did not play. That team did not play. The offense looked horrible. Even though everyone's saying Bryce stayed composed, etc. Composure doesn't always win you the games. And they showed up this time too late. I've been saying all season they've played the first half. This time they tried to show up the second half and did nothing in the first half, and there was nothing there. And I've literally been up to super late fielding text messages and calls from people that I didn't even get a Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year or Happy Thanksgiving or anything from, but they're coming out the woodworks now because Panthers lost. So, I am disgusted to know that in our division that this has never happened, as I can recall, that the playoffs are so disgustingly close in a bad way that the two teams that are playing are having to look to the two teams from the bottom that have been outplaying the two teams from the top. And that's the reason why we are where we are. And to have to look, and everyone knows my disdain for the Atlanta Falcons, to have to look to the freaking Falcons to get a win, not a tie. They can't even get a tie. To get a win against New Orleans to claim the division is not necessarily, okay, they're doing us a favor, because let's be clear, we swept them, so we took care of business with them, but then we got swept by New Orleans. And so you add in all of the background that the Panthers come in. It's literally been a win-loss since week 7. This is the first time we've lost 2 in a row. It's crazy. Kudos to Rico Dowdle, who got his $1 million for his touches, but I don't know what Bryce was thinking. I mean, the game was rainy, but it was rainy on both teams. Both teams played in the rain. And so the point spread was -3. That didn't even get met. So Vegas got it wrong as well.
I got it right.
Yeah, because it was 2 points. Who would have thought? But to think that the thing that really bothers me the most, and I'm not one to really say like, okay, we lost because of, but to see the blatant calls and to see, like you said, be the uproar that is everywhere. This is not just Panthers fans. This is like, I couldn't even go on Instagram. I forgot now. I was supposed to be looking up someone's profile for something. I never got to it because of all the videos and all the comments out there about how this referee crew, I guess Kansas City lent Tampa Bay some refs they weren't using since they've been eliminated. They got the wrong red this time. They were with Tampa Bay. This forward pass that was blown dead, was said it was a backward pass out of bounds. What? I was sitting there like, wait a minute. I'm trying to rewind, and you couldn't rewind ESPN. I'm trying to rewind to see did I miss something because I wasn't really looking dead on at the screen. And I'm like, wait a minute. I see the replay, and I'm like, what are they talking about? Then you give T-Mac an offensive pass interference because you say he doesn't get, or he got one separation, 1 degree of separation. And it was just an absolute mess. I know y'all are going to eat me alive, and I'm here for it. But I feel like everyone was so busy crotch riding Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that there is this developed hate, not with y'all, but I'm saying overall with the analysts, with everybody, against Carolina, that they could actually come in and play a team that was at one point formidable for the playoff runs. And let's be clear, the last thing the NFL wants is for little old country Carolina
Stop it. Stop it.
Upset.
Stop
Let me
it.
finish my
You're
sentence.
saying the game was
Come in and upset.
basically.
Come in and upset one of their bigger teams that they've projected to go in, like the Rams or Seattle, or San Francisco. Now I'm done.
All right, who's gonna go next?
Jack, he was
You're
cutting off.
I'll tell you, Sonia, nothing personal. I like you personally. You're a very good person and you're an intelligent person and you know your football. But stop with the nonsense that the league had a bias, that it was fixed in any way. I don't have any patience for that, Sonia. Please stop that. The officiating was awful. That's fine. That's fair game. Terrible
Deliberate.
officiating. The officials should be looked into how they performed in their duties. That's all fine. I agree with you on that. They got a raw deal on a couple of calls. The Panthers, absolutely. Could it have cost them the game? Possibly. I'm all good with that. But stop the nonsense, the utter ridiculousness about the league, the bias. They wanted this, they wanted that. There was some plot. I have no patience for that. I don't think Keith has any patience for that. I think James agrees with me on that. I think Brian agrees with me on that. Stop it. Okay.
Well, I'm not, because I've seen it in other teams, and
you haven't seen it in anything.
I have seen. Look at the Rams and Saints game from 2018 is a prime example.
That wasn't fixed. That was a terrible call. That's all that was.
The Saints sent a whole petition about that call. Did they not, J-Train? A whole petition.
They did, but I didn't agree with it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't agree with it.
But I'm saying there's been a history. That's what I'm saying. This is not about me being a Panthers fan. And there's one thing to have a bad call. But when you blatantly make up a call that nobody sees, that's not bad officiating.
Yes, it is. Only bad officiating. 100% bad officiating. There's bad officiating in almost every game in the NFL. There is zero scripting, zero fixes.
I didn't say nothing was scripted. Crazy. I said there's a bias there's a bias.
Hold on. When you say they don't want them to win, you're saying
don't. That's a bias. That's a bias. They don't.
I don't debate the whole thing either. It's because it's.
No, I got you. I'm not saying there's a difference in saying scripted. I never said scripted. I said there is a bias that has been developed.
You also threw in the comment about the Kansas City Chiefs and how they were given.
Yes.
That's bullshit.
The refs.
Bullshit.
The refs. Yes, I believe that, and a lot of people.
You bring down this show with that type of talk. Let's bring down this show.
Comments. Ridiculous.
Let me say this about the game. The game was definitely poorly officiated. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But what I will also say is the score was close enough where you got to make Carolina culpable of not being able to finish the game. I mean, it was 16-7. 16-7 in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter. And the third quarter, they missed a field goal. They could have brought it closer. And in the fourth quarter, that egregious call by Canales, you're on a 24-yard line and you decide to do a flea flicker.
Right.
A flea flicker. And with poor conditions on the field, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. If anything, that is the most egregious call, a bad call. When you talk about poorly officiating, poor calls, that was the worst call of the game. Mm-hmm. You make that call, you fumble, and I'll be honest with you. This is like something that looks familiar. We're talking 10 years ago when Cam Newton didn't pounce on the fumble. He didn't go down. Bryce didn't do the same thing. He hesitated. Both quarterbacks hesitated. And if you recover that fumble, you still give you a chance to at least get 3 points. You took away points off the board totally. And then you come back and score and make it 14. But imagine if you get a touchdown here and you get that other touchdown, you're up 21-16. So I blame, yes, poorly officiating, but you got to blame the Panthers ultimately for the loss because you had it in your hands to win this game. And that's just what it is. It is terrible officiating, but you still had every opportunity to win that game. And they didn't.
Well, whoever loses out on the playoffs between the Panthers and the Bucs has only themselves to blame. A week ago, The Bucks could have won the division yesterday had they beaten the Miami Dolphins. The Panthers had 2 shots at it, difficult shots, beating a really good Seattle team at home. Tough game. They lost that game, and they had the chance yesterday. Same with the Buccaneers. I mean, whoever doesn't win the division, they had the opportunity. Now the fate's out of their hands, and you're right, Sonia, about this. Both the Saints and the Falcons, the 2 trailing teams not making the playoffs, are playing much better than the 2 teams ahead of them. One of them should be going to the playoffs had they won a couple of games early in the year.
Yeah, I will say this. The other thing, the Panthers actually have had a total of 4 opportunities to win the division. I mean, talk about chances. And that's where I come from, the point where I'm like, this is our own fault. We are here because of what we did or did not do as an organization. We could have beat New Orleans one time, and beat Tampa one time and been done. We got swept by New Orleans, so that was the first time. We didn't sweep Tampa. That was the second time. We didn't beat Seattle. That's the third time, and now we're looking to the Falcons on today. So it's just crazy. It's crazy across the board, and I want to be clear. I love the NFL. It's why I do what I do across the board. I'm gonna be opinionated. I'm gonna be in a point where I feel a certain way that I feel, and if I see that people are on the same tangent that I am about things, that's what makes me get the momentum I get. I never want it to be relayed on this show or anywhere that I said that the NFL or any sport was scripted, written, or already pre-planned. I do personally feel, though, nobody wants, it's this analogy, even outside of sports, that people generally look at teams from the South, especially in small rural areas or areas smaller than what's bigger known, even though Charlotte has been growing, it's still a rural area. The Carolinas overall are a rural area, and no one wants to think, this is not 2015 where the whole world was like, yes, go Panthers. This is the opposite, where they're like, look, we already have our teams from the NFC West. We'd love to see them win. We do not want to see any one of these teams who have been playing 8 and 9 at another minimum. Let me put that in there. The whole division, nobody should be going. They should just basically, like I saw this video, toss up the whole video, split everybody up, make a whole new NFC South. No one 8 and 9 should be in the playoffs. That's horrible. That's horrible. We went 7, 8 and 1 years ago, and it was horrible then, and it's horrible now.
Well, I'm gonna kind of point something by that, Sonia. It's not the poor picked on Carolina Panthers. It's these guys. These guys have rewritten the rule book practically for most of the games they have in there. I can go on tangents about stuff like that because I think Detroit gets picked on a lot too by the refs and by the NFL about certain things. But at the same time, like the one call in Dallas when it was pass interference, egregious call that the flag was picked up on. But like to James's point, the Lions still had time to change the game. I mean, they still had opportunities to win that game. So it can be looked egregious at the time. It'd be something that you focus on because you're a fan and you're frustrated, you're mad because they didn't win the game. It's like the whole thing about the 8-9. You have to win division games. Mm-hmm. Division games are very important to win. Last year, the Lions went 15-2. This year, they're 8-8. Could be 8-9. But you know the reason why? They've only won one division game out of 5 so far. And last year they were 6-0 in their division. That's a whole difference right there of being the top notch to the bottom notch. And you have to. We've had some egregious calls this year. The one in Pittsburgh where it should not have been an offensive pass interference on the first touchdown. On the second one, it was definitely pass interference. But those kind of things you look at. It's like, dude, what are you calling? Why are you just, But once you get through it, it's like, well, you shouldn't have been putting yourself in that position anyway.
Exactly.
In the first place. So you have to play the game. And that's why I say it is what it is at the end of the day, because that's what it is. You can't do anything about that. But I mean, I understand your point, and I understand everybody else's point on here too. It was a I can't say it was an exciting. Well, I mean, it was an exciting game to a point, but it was raining. It was sloppy. I didn't like that play call. You know, Canales. That just shot my hopes out for the Panthers because I picked the Panthers to win this game.
Everybody.
And
Same.
Well, the pivotal point in the game, no one mentioned late in the game when the Bucks were up 9 and they missed a 38-yard field goal. A few minutes were left. I thought they kind of opened the door up for the Panthers if they could score a touchdown and hold, and then maybe get a field goal. And it played out. The Panthers they were down 9, 4th down. Bryce Young hits a long pass, and all of a sudden they score. And now it's a game, and the Buccaneers had to convert, first down, which they did. But it was a sloppy game. It wasn't well played. I mean, you could say it was raining. There were elements, involved. I'm glad I didn't go to the game. A buddy of mine had seats on the 50-yard line. It would have been a 4-hour drive without stopping from where I was. I turned it down. I wouldn't have enjoyed going all that way and sitting in the rain. But I'm going to tell you something. Whoever survives between the Panthers and Bucks, they have a home game. They might actually win that game. Don't sell them short either, the Panthers or the Bucks, as far as winning that home game.
Yeah, I almost went to that game too, but and had an opportunity to get a free ticket, but I too didn't want to make the travel because I didn't even know about the rain, but I have already been traveling a lot. And all I could think when I saw that rain was like, I'm glad I didn't drive, because that's the one caveat about open stadiums. Like, and I've been in a game before where it's rained, it's just a lot. And so I will say this though, that call, in addition to the missed field goal, because both teams only had one touchdown. Tampa Bay beat us by field goal. I mean, we've seen that happen with other teams. I think the Seattle Seahawks did that to one of their teams not too long ago, just beat them by field goals. You have to make the crucial calls. That field goal that was missed was crucial. That could have been a game changer. There's so many things, like I said, not just the fact that I'm upset with the calls. I'm upset with the whole game. I'm not saying and J Train and B will tell you, even Friday, I was kind of hesitant, and they kept saying you got to be confident in your team. I was like, y'all, I don't know. I want to say we're gonna win, but I just know I've seen how we play, and they were like, well, we believe in you. I was almost the only one not voting in my own team when we did the show Friday night. And so I wasn't surprised that we lost. Let me be clear on that. I was surprised at just the momentum that everybody is talking about this game, not just from who claims the South and they're the worst division, but the stance that has been taken. Brad Allen came out. They had an interview with him. And how often do you see the refs talking to the press? He basically talked about a lot of this stuff was on-field calls that was relayed to him. So he was kind of like, in a sense, removing himself as the point person that made these decisions. And so it's just a lot. It's a lot going on across the board. But, had we played, because sometimes, the adage is you got to play the team and the refs. I mean, I know y'all don't agree with that, but I'm going to say it like this. Had the Panthers played, we wouldn't be having this discussion probably. People would have said their little comments here and there about what the officiating looked like, but I wouldn't be riled up about it. I'd just be like, yeah, I saw that, but we won, blah, blah, blah. And there it is. So today, stand up Atlanta. I can't say rise up, but stand up and do what you need to do. We gave ourselves the insurance. I'm wearing my red for now. I'm going to be getting off here shortly and going to church. I'm wearing gray for the New Year's, but I'll be supporting them. I'll say that. That's about it.
Shout out to Ted McMillan for getting 1,000 yards for the season, the rookie and potentially a rookie of the year. I had to give a shout out to him. That's all I want to say about that. I know we're going to
Rico Dowdle got his money.
I think he is a rookie of the year, actually. I like that.
If I had to give to him, yes, I would give to him only over Tyler Shough.
I just want to say something, and this applies to any team in the league, but you get today, actually, the Falcons Saints result, and I'm not talking about the particular fan base, I think is a little more important to the Buccaneers because the Panthers are a rising team. They can take something out of this season positive, even if they don't go to the playoffs, because think of where they were a year ago, and they improved. I anticipated they were going to improve. In fact, I said they would be 8-9.
Yep,
That was
you
my
did.
prediction from on the year. But the Panthers, I could see as a team that's going to possibly be better next year. The Buccaneers, it's a total failure if they don't get in the playoffs. A complete failure, a complete collapse. Okay. So I think objectively, looking at it, it's more important for the Buccaneers to result. It's a disaster for the Buccaneers if the Falcons win today. For the Panthers, it's very upsetting, but they take something more out of this season, absolutely, than the Buccaneers would, not even close.
Agree. Thank you, Jack, for that.
All I'm going to say is it ain't going to happen for the NFC South. Whoever wins that, it's
one and done.
Forget it. One and done. Because you got to look at how the teams are performing in the last three. Both those teams had chances to win that division and did not do it. It's the same thing I'm going to use for Pittsburgh when we get to that run. You had those chances to win and you can't do it. That means your team is not in no position to win a playoff game. Sorry, can't do it because that's one and done. So yeah, I'm not even. I know Jack wants his Tampa Bay to go to the Super Bowl thing. I ain't buying it, Jack. Sorry.
Seahawks was 7-9 and they won a playoff game and then gave the Chicago Bears, who went to the Super Bowl, a good game.
Seahawks.
You never know.
That happened. This is now, Jack. This ain't 5-10 years ago. Okay.
The Panther team that was 7-8-1 won a playoff game, didn't they?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, we did. And then the next year we went undefeated almost and went to the Super Bowl. So
another
let's
narrative.
Let's move on to the next game. We got plenty of games to talk about it.
Real quick, one other narrative that's going to end up happening here is you're going to have screaming to do away with the divisions and have one, and I hate that. I like division.
That's what I
think it's important, but every time we have this happen, we have a group of people that will rise up and say, we can't let 8 and 9 teams in the playoffs when 11 win teams are home. It is what it is. I mean, it doesn't happen that often. And I don't want to see division play go away. I think it's still important.
I agree,
yeah,
Paul.
I'm not buying that one either, Paul, but okay. That's what you're saying. But anyway, the other game of the day was a chance for the NFC West title and the number 1 seed in the NFC between the Seahawks and San Francisco. Seahawks went to San Francisco. San Francisco was in their all-black uniforms. Trying to look impressive. Those were tight, though. Yeah,
they were.
Unfortunately, the team wasn't. So
I had to grab me a McCaffrey one since I love
Seattle wins 13-3 on really good defense. Like I figured it was going to happen with Seattle. They were going to come in and they're a great road team. And to tell you the truth, it kind of reminds me. It's the same thing that happened last year. If you so-called with Detroit and Minnesota, whoever won that game wins the division, gets the number 1 seed. Same thing is happening here with Seattle. Now, Seattle, I think, is has more going for it this year than Detroit did at that particular time. So I think they're going to – but they should actually have gotten to go on the road because I would use that as my strength. You know what I'm saying? Go on the road because that's what they play good on. And that's why I kind of was concerned last year about the Lions. I said, they're playing at home. I said, they suck at home. They're great. They lost 2 games at home. They won every other game on the road. I'd rather than be on the road.
Defense travels, right? Defense travels a lot better than offense does, and they played really well on the road.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that was a pretty good game too. Boring for some of you guys who like to see a lot of offense. None of that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I haven't given Seattle their respect this year at all. But watching the game yesterday, that defense and the way they won the game too, what was it, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 19 when they're up 10-3 and they get a first down on a running play. And to see John Lynch, the 49er GM, hold his hands to his head. Like, how do you give up a first down? And to see the way they chewed up the clock at the end of the game and the way, the 49ers just couldn't stop them. And then when the 49ers finally get the ball back with a little over 2 minutes, Brock Purdy can't even get a first down. I mean, every guy is blanketed and covered so, tightly. I mean, what a defense.
His lack of arm strength comes into play in these kind of places where he's under duress, on the run. And maybe it's just me, but I've said this from the beginning. that he doesn't seem to have the same arm strength that a lot of other quarterbacks have, that you can just get something in off balance and make something out of nothing. And Purdy doesn't seem to have that same zip on the ball that other guys do. A lot of balls just float up there. And he didn't play well. Now look at because of the defense. Again, I can say the offense didn't play well, but the defense just was smothering. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. He was under duress all night. And again, San Francisco fans are going to talk about injuries. Everybody has injuries. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, don't talk about them now. You didn't even talk about the whole season while they were winning.
You got to figure it out. Right?
This game had the atmosphere of an old school playoff game. I mean, there was great defense on both sides, but Seattle was great on all facets. Their defense was great. Their offense and running game was great. I mean, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker both were dominant in regards to running the ball, getting first downs. Get that 26-yard touchdown on 3rd and 2 in the beginning on their first score by Charbonnet was great. It was beauty. It was a thing of beauty of the outside zone run. And you look at them and you're looking like they're built for the playoffs. And they're going to get a bye. They're going to be at home. I don't know. Like you said, they're better traveled on the road. But again, I just don't see any team coming in Seattle and shutting them down unless the Rams figure out a way to bounce back. I don't know. I mean, they held C-Mac to his jersey number, 23 yards. I mean, that's just crazy. It's just
and a fumble.
I just think that they're built for the long haul and potential Super Bowl contenders here.
This team was good for Darnold's psyche, I think, as well, because last year he failed in kind of the same spot with the Vikings, and he didn't play great, but he didn't play badly either last night. So I think this is good for Darnold. Forward.
James, I don't mean to detour much, but you mentioned with the Rams bouncing back. If the Rams beat the Cardinals today, and they'll be heavily favored to do so, they'll be the 5th seed, and they play at either Carolina or Tampa Bay. So that's what I meant before. The way the Rams have been playing, they're not a lock to win that game. Believe me, far
They're
from
playing starters today.
Go ahead, Sonia.
No, you go ahead because I'm gonna add this on the tail end. Sorry about that.
Seattle. I think Sam Darnold has turned a corner with that franchise. Last year, when he played for Minnesota, there was a couple of bad games he had, really bad games he had. This year, there was really only one game I don't think he played really exceptionally well in, and other ones he's played really well in. So, I mean, he's turned that corner. I know Minnesota's kicking themselves in the pants for that. They should have kept him. That was the worst moving on from a guy that I ever seen a franchise make.
Well,
go ahead.
You're saying that, but they had to find out what was going on with McCarthy. That's the thing about it. And
no, they don't. No, they don't. They could set him behind. They did find out what McCarthy is. Gets oft injured, can't really make too many good throws. That's because he's not playing behind somebody. That's what he should have been doing, is playing behind a veteran. That's what he should have been doing.
You're talking about if they had a do-over, they would keep Sam Darnold, obviously. But at the time, I don't think any of us were hype about it. Was anyone on this panel hype about the Vikings allowing, not Frank?
I've always been hype about it. I think it was a stupid move. I've always been saying it was a stupid move.
I'm going to say, I remember you, Jack, at the beginning of last season, you predicted that Sam Darnold was going to have a good year in Minnesota. And you were right. And minus the last couple of games, I had to jump on the bandwagon with you and agree with you and say I was wrong because I thought he wasn't going to do anything. Mm-hmm. And I thought even minus those 2 bad games that he had, I thought they were going to keep him. I thought they were going to retain him. And I thought it was a terrible move for not retaining him. Because, again, I agree with what B said. I wasn't a huge fan of McCarthy at Michigan. And so I thought it was a bad pick to move up and get him, when they drafted him. I thought they should have got him later. They probably could have. But Harbaugh hyped him up. And next thing you know, somebody jumps up and get him. And it's Minnesota. But I still think that McCarthy has a long way to go now. If he ever improves, it's just between injury and he's delayed in regards to his maturity of his maturation of his play.
I'll swing against the tide here, and I'll say that this trade looks bad now. In the long run, I think the Vikings will win out. I think McCarthy will progress if he stays healthy. He's got to stay healthy. Talent-wise is there, and he's got the best coach he can have for getting better as a quarterback. There's no better coach in the NFL, in my mind, than Kevin O'Connell for this type of thing.
Well,
I'll agree with that.
Well, it's still technically on the 49ers. So Mac Jones is going to come into play. I could see him going to the Vikings, and they'll see how he works out there, and it'll either be him or McCarthy. But I think the Vikings are going to have an open mind. Whoever they bring in, it doesn't necessarily mean McCarthy's going to take over now. It's all going to be a question mark between, let's say, a Mac Jones and McCarthy. Whoever's playing better has the job going forward. I think case closed. I don't think they feel that obligation towards McCarthy anymore. Injuries or not, if you can't be on the field, okay, tough luck.
Yeah,
rumors have it that they are looking for a veteran quarterback, so JJ can sit behind. Oh, that's hindsight is 20/20, but common sense is not so common with that.
What about James' favorite quarterback, Daniel Jones? He was on the Vikings. They could have kept him. They could have signed him to a deal too. We talk about Sam Darnold, right? What about Daniel Jones? I mean, he was
on both
there
quarterbacks.
Well. I'm only kidding you. Your favorite quarterback.
Bad.
I know.
I think a lot of people had overlooked the fact that Sam Darnold could actually come back in this manner because he had become such a journeyman in a little bit. I mean, he started going from team to team, and we rarely see a quarterback go to a franchise and serve as a backup and then come back in as a starter and have the type of success we've seen with Sam Darnold. So I know me personally, I didn't really see this happening because I felt like once the situation in Minnesota unfolded, that we probably would just see, him kind of fade in the limelight, kind of be here or mediocre team or what have you. Kudos to him. I wanted to just point out real quick, Zach Charbonnet. I mean, he is my new, most hated NFL player right now. What a difference a season makes. He came into the league last year as a rookie. He only had 2 starts last year, but still put up some very impressive numbers. But this year, 9 touchdowns alone by himself. Very good investment there as a running back with Seattle. And when you add him with the compliments of Kenneth Walker and what Sam is doing out there, I think that we may be looking at, I hate to give it a cliche, but the NFC West may be the best because it was so competitive. That league was so all 3 teams. I mean, there was 3 and then there was Arizona. It was such a huge, great competition. All the teams were actually winning. But I just want to give a plug for Zach Charbonnet. I mean, he's really doing big things out there.
And getting a bye is huge. Getting a bye in the NFL, that's going to do them really well for sure.
Yeah, in case the 49ers are cooked as far as I'm concerned. They're not going anywhere. When you lose a game like that, there's such a big difference between having to win 2 games both at home and now win probably 3 on the road to get to the Super Bowl. It happened to your New England Patriots and Tom Brady's last year there. They had the bye virtually locked up, or they had to beat the Dolphins, who they annihilated early in the year, and they lose that game. They get upset, and all of a sudden, instead of having the bye and 2 games at home to get to the Super Bowl, it's 3 on the road. It's got to demoralize you. I don't care whether you're an athlete, you're a competitor, you're human. It has to demoralize you.
Demoralized me, I know that. I can tell you, I didn't like Mike Vrabel much that year.
Well,
I mean, it just goes to show when you
Giants
with a
did
different team, it could be anybody. It could be a new coach or a new team, new quarterback. You just never know. It's just the luck of the draw, I guess, because you never know what you're going to get.
But Sonia, we condemn the Vikings, some of us at least, for moving on from Sam Darnold. But didn't the Jets move on from him eventually?
Yes.
Didn't Carolina move on from him eventually?
49ers.
Well, 49ers had a choice, him or Brock Purdy. It's understandable. Purdy was playing great at the time. And I still think Purdy is the franchise guy for the 49ers. I mean, I haven't given up on him by a long shot. But Yeah, it's all atmosphere. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers, I mean, at least they have a winning record with the Steelers this year. You know, it's environment.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Well, guys, I
let's
gotta
get to
run.
let's get to some other games. All right, Sonia. I was
Thanks
gonna
for
Love
having
you,
me.
Sonia. Have a good one.
Love
Bye,
you guys.
Sonia.
Good luck today, J Train.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
anybody else playing.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
I
Yeah.
All right, have a good one.
You know.
Have a nice church.
It's
So
got,
let's
I
get
just
to
want to
the-
laugh. It's gotten to the point. No one wishes me good luck with the Jets.
Good luck, Jack.
As if they're not even. I think they're wishing me good luck. I hope you lose the game. That's good luck. The game's high draft.
It's more to the point. We're going to say good luck on a draft. Yes.
Good luck on
Yeah.
the draft. Yeah.
Yeah, the G is real good. Yeah, he's a good receiver. Lord.
Well, I mean,
What?
Anyway,
let's
Yeah.
talk about that topic
Yes.
since we put it up
Um,
there. Let's analyze it for 5 minutes. Compare it
Yeah.
to Belichick.
Yes, I love your sarcasm,
Sorry,
Jack.
Chris. Chris, you know,
I didn't post it.
You're
I
all right,
didn't put
but
it
I
up
ain't
there, James.
I'm not
I
putting.
mean,
I'm
come
not.
on. I mean, Brian likes this gossip stuff.
It's a 25-year-old of the week.
Stuff. You like this guy?
Let's give Keith 8
Anyway,
minutes of
let's-
let's
listen.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the next game we're going to get to that's today is the New England Patriots playing the Miami Dolphins. New England really doesn't have too much to play for, right?
The Broncos lose.
Well, the
they
number one seed. The number one
Yeah,
seed.
but the Broncos are not going to lose, so they're playing those games simultaneously. I think there'll be some scoreboard watching, and if the Broncos get way ahead in this game, you will see starters start to sit for the Patriots. I think the Patriots will win this game. I'll just say that because they need to win the game to have any chance at that bye. I'm hoping Trey Lance has some kind of maybe some possession of some other quarterback will possess him today, and the Chargers will give the Broncos a run. But I still like the Patriots. And listen, I'm going to say too right now, I'm not mad at the. We've seen this many years, right? Where teams get mad at other teams for not playing their starters when there's something on the line. I'm not mad at the Chargers for not playing their starters. It's their only job is to take care of their team, nobody else's, not mine, nobody else's. And I hope their backups can go play well today and maybe give the Broncos a run. Doubt that they will, but we'll hope for the best. And I'll take the Patriots because I am obligated to by contract.
You know, it might not seem like a big game to us, but think of Quinn Ewers with the Dolphins. If he plays a really strong game, that means he's going to be the starter for the Dolphins next year. Coming to training camp, they're not going to
give him a job, but he'll be.
They will give him the job. Basically.
I don't think they'll give him a job. I think he'll have a leg up on the job, but I don't think he'll.
Well, they'll bring in a veteran, maybe as a backup, maybe like a Carson Wentz type or whatever. But the plan is for him to be the starter.
He should be. I think he should be, Jack. I'm not saying he won't be. I just don't think they'll just outright give him the job. Unless they move Tua. If they move Tua, then that's a different story, right?
Well, Tua's not. I mean, I can't imagine Tua coming back as the starter. They're not doing a reset with Tua, allowing it to regroup.
By the way, to that point, I'm sorry, Jack, but to that point, Keith, I have heard a lot of rumors going around that they're going to try to move Tua.
I would think they want to. That contract's not going to be easy to move, I don't think. But somebody, there are teams that need quarterbacks.
They're willing to eat that cat.
Yeah,
they're trying to be Denver.
Like Denver did with Russell Wilson. They're going to. It's a similar situation.
Yeah, you're going to have to. And then he needs a fresh start too. If he's ever going to make it, he's probably better off with his fresh start too. So.
Yeah,
that could be. In which case, Jack will be right. I guess Cam Ewers will be named the starter unless they make some other move that we're not looking at.
So, who did you get, James, on that the Dolphin Patriot game? I gotta ask.
Please, the Patriots, man, without a doubt. And to laugh at Keith regarding to the second stringers having a shot against the Broncos. Man, maybe who knows? You know, I mean, stranger things have happened, but
I'm going to have both games on. I'm going to have both games on, and the over/under is how long I have the Charger Bronco game on. How long will I actually leave that game on?
Guys, I've
Exactly.
the Dolphins aren't that bad. Everyone, the image of them is that they're terrible. They're 7-9.
That's
They
terrible,
beat
by the way.
Tampa Bay last week against Tampa. They didn't. I mean, they're not
Tampa
that
Bay's
bad.
terrible.
Okay, but the Dolphins aren't that bad. They beat Buffalo when it meant something to Buffalo, a few weeks ago.
Every dog has his day. I mean, any given Sunday.
Patriots should win, but keep this in mind: the Patriots are going to just be half their foot's going to be on the accelerator because, like Keith says, the thought is, well, Denver's probably going to win, but also Denver's a tough game with the Chargers. It's not a lock. And can you imagine if New England just mails it in and they lose a close game to the Dolphins, a game they could have won, and then Denver loses and they could have had to bye?
Time out.
You know the anguish that would cause?
They're not mailing it in. The starters are all playing, and until they see the scoreboard of the Broncos getting in control of that game, you will see the starters in there, and they will be playing to win that game.
But if the Bronco game is later, isn't the Bronco game after?
No, they're same time. Same time.
4:25.
4:25, both of them.
They batched. The NFL did this on purpose to put.
Good move by the credit the NFL on that. That's a good thing. Did we criticize the NFL? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Great move because it would be unfair to both teams.
It would be.
At least they could scoreboard watch. And please, I don't want to hear anyone in New England say we're not scoreboard watching. I mean, we hear that nonsense all the time.
I just told you I'd have both my TVs.
Well, Mr. Scoreboard watch,
who are you
picking?
6 games going at once, Keith. Come on. I mean,
I'm picking the Dolphins or the Patriots, Jack.
I'm usually focused on one game when the Patriots are playing.
Who you got, Jack?
You pick Jack.
New England should win this game. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose. Quinn Ewers, bottom line, still is a rookie quarterback. New England should win this decisively. I think something like 30-13. But if Quinn Ewers plays really well, imagine the Dolphins win and he has a heck of a game. He's locked up the starting QB position for next year. I mean, no competition. He
could play well and still lose.
Unfolded.
He could play well and still lose. That's the whole point. That's what you want to throw him in those situations. So I mean, regardless, I don't think that the Dolphins are going to win this game either because New England's got too much to play for. So it's in New England, really. I mean,
no. New England should win the game. I'm just saying the Dolphins aren't that bad. I mean, and there's a history of the Dolphins, like I mentioned a little while ago, beating New England in the big final game to knock them out of the bye. And Mike Grable was part of the Patriots. So I'm sure he remembers that very clearly. The players don't at all, but he does. And
which game was that?
He's alerted them.
Not the game that knocked him out of the number one seed. He wasn't playing in that game. He was coaching the Titans.
Oh, he was coaching the Titans at the time. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was
coaching. Good correction.
New England has harder times over their past years in playing the Dolphins in Miami. But when it comes to them playing in Gillette Stadium, it's a whole different situation. So I have the utmost confidence in the Patriots in winning that game.
Coming from the warm climate to the cold, that works against Miami.
Well, Miami's also got
as it will today.
The whole cold thing. They can't play in the cold stuff, Let's see here. Yeah, Bill's right. Okay, so real quick here, Keith. Who you got between Denver and San Diego? Chargers.
I so want to say the Chargers. I want Trey Lance to show why he got, the 49ers traded way up to get him. I want Mike Garrett to be playing in the backfield. I want Lance Allworth at wide receiver. None of that's going to happen, and the Broncos are going to win this game probably easy. Broncos. I'll be rooting for the Chargers, but I'll pick the Broncos.
I picked the Broncos too. So. I mean,
Broncos should win, but I think it's going to be a close game, actually. Trey Lance might play well. Just quickly, Keith, when Trey Lance was at college, did Harbaugh ever coach against him in a game? Because he has Trey Lance as his primary backup.
No, he was at
he kind of has to like Trey Lance.
He went to a Dakota.
South
either
Dakota.
North or South Dakota. Yeah.
I can't
I
remember.
wonder whether they crossed paths at all, because something
I think it was
about
North
Trey
Dakota.
Lance Harbaugh likes.
Michigan did not play them at all, as far as I'm aware.
Anyway, okay. So James has got Denver. Who you got, Jack? You got Denver?
Denver, close game, 24-20. I think it's really competitive.
I'm just saying Denver's going to win. I'm tired of saying the scores because every time I say them, it's either it's going to be a close game and it blows out, or it's going to be a blowout and it's a close game.
I'll tell you why, James.
I'm tired of doing that, dude.
Poorly. The Chargers played poorly against Houston. They really did, and they're going to make corrections. They're not going to have another bad game in a row. They really made a lot of mistakes in that game.
They're sitting their starters, man. There's no way that they play well. I mean, Denver has something to play for, so they're gonna, yeah. So they got to try to win.
That's about Keith's time, isn't there, Keith?
Yes, I'm gonna jump, but I'm gonna say one last thing. I wish Shane Falco were playing today for the Chargers instead of Trey Lance. How about that? Somebody gets that reference. Sorry for it.
Definitely get it.
All right, guys.
Number 16 on your program, number 1 in your hearts.
Great movie. Go watch it.
All right, Keith. You have a good one. Have a good show,
tomorrow
man.
morning.
See you in the morning, Jack. Bye, guys.
Have a good one, Keith. Enjoy your Sunday.
You too.
Guys, you kind of wonder a little about Trey Lance. This is a big game to him. If Trey Lance plays a great game, you wonder where his landing spot might be. He's not going to get a starting position anywhere. That's obvious. But, you put yourself in a position as a backup where something can open up. We've seen it happen all over the league. It's happened with Sam Darnold. It's happened with Daniel Jones. It's happened with other guys. You go to the right place. You don't go to a place where you're back up behind, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to get an opportunity unless, they get injured. And what I mean by that, if you did replace them and play great, when Allen and Mahomes comes back, they're going to be number 1 again. But certain other places you could stay in that number 1 position. That's where we look at the Vikings. Perfect landing spot for backup. You play well. It doesn't matter when J.J. McCarthy comes back. You're going to hold on to that starting position. And that's what you kind of wonder, Trey Lance. Is there a potential spot he can wind up at, if he plays really well today for next season? I doubt it, knowing his history, but it's a very important game for him personally today.
Well, let's go.
So you guys know we got 12 games to cover.
Yeah. I'm going to speak. I'm not going to go on a tangent with
because
this.
a lot of these are crap games anyway. They're not going to make a difference.
Yes.
So, let's see. The first crap game we got is Dallas, and I apologize to the Cowboy fans and the Giants fans. I'm sure it means something to you, but in the scheme of things, it does not. So Dallas Cowboys are going to the New York Giants. Who you got there, James? I don't even want to go into anyone with it.
I know there's no speaking about people tanking for higher draft status, and I don't think the Giants are going to do that. But I just don't see them. I mean, it's going to be a tough game, because all these games are divisional games, which is great. I mean, at the last game of the season, you want to see people play their best, and typically when you play your best, most times you're playing with an inter-division rival, and so Dallas versus the Giants is going to be. It's, mind you, this is a crap game because one's 9-8-1 and the other's 3-13. But I like the Cowboys to go up there and win that game. I just think that they're the right now. So they survived to be the more talented team. I'm not taking anything away from Jackson Dart. I think his future's bright and he can do some things, but he doesn't have a lot of weapons there. I think the Dallas defense has improved a little bit. I just think they have enough to go ahead and win that game up in New York, and I'm going to pick them to win maybe by 3 to 5 points.
It's kind of a big game for Dallas. I mean, I know James, I don't know his feelings on Jerry Jones. He's never let it out altogether. But Jerry Jones has really been put down as a GM. but it's been over 20 years since Dallas had back-to-back losing seasons. Say what you want about not winning playoff games, this or that, but it shows how competitive a team is. Even with your Lions today, it's an important game. There's a big difference between 8-8, 9-8, to me at least. No, it is. It is. It is. That's why I admire Mike Tomlin so much, that winning records year after year. Dallas wins their 8-8-1. They avoid a losing record. They lose their 7-9-1. To me, as a fan, I would take something out of that. And the Giants, what does it matter? Like one extra win. What do they have? 3 wins now. What's the difference? 3, 4 wins. I mean, it's draft position. If I'm the Giants, it would be a little more appealing to me to lose the game than to win it. I know as a fan, you want to win every game, of course. I get all that. But it's more important for Dallas. And I think playing, the Giants won last week. They have an interim coach who wants to hang on to his job. I think the Giants do play hard today. They do play hard, and I don't think the coach should set up anything for them to lose. I like Dallas, let's say 23-19.
Yeah, I'm also picking Dallas. I mean, Kafka is out there trying to win some games for the Giants at the big cost of the fact that they're losing draft position every time he does that, which is kind of pissing off some of the Giants fans because, but in that light, there's been investigations going on about Las Vegas and the Giants in that game about who's tanking, and they're going after some players. Like they had the tight end from the Giants. They listed him as sick, but he was out there watching a basketball game on one of the social media things. They caught him playing watching basketball, going to a function when he was supposed to be sick. I mean, it's just the way these are professional teams. I would figure that I would hope that these players are playing professionally because that's what they get a paycheck for. They're going to go out there and play the best they can. Now, what I call tanking is like if you don't play any starters at all and you got your second string out there playing. I know it's a no-win game. It doesn't make a difference. But that to me is tanking. You're not sticking with your starters in the last game of the season when it doesn't make a difference. And that's tanking to me. That's an obvious tanking. But in this game, I will pick Dallas because Dallas has got the offense. I think Dak's going to go out on a high note. There's nothing been wrong with Dak this year. I think he's played really good this year. And that offense has been beaming. They just got to get that defense together. Cleveland at Cincinnati, another crap game. Myles Garrett, you think he gets the record today?
Yeah, if he doesn't, that's a bit of a collapse. Really, it seemed like he had the record not only locked up, but he was going to have a few additional sacks. So that's something to look out for. Myles Garrett, there's been grumblings about him not wanting to come back. He hates the losing. And I can kind of understand that. We've heard that before. But then he got paid. Shador Sanders, too. I mentioned Trey Lance a while ago, and Quinn Ewers. This is big for Shador Sanders. Because if he has a flat game today, they've given him an opportunity. And what's his potential? His potential then would be, yeah, maybe he can be a very good quarterback, but it's going to take a lot of time. And the NFL is not in a league where they're going to give a guy a lot of time. Someone like Cam Ward has that novelty at Tennessee. They were committed to give him a lot of time. No one was committed to give Shador Sanders a lot of time considering where he was drafted. So he better play a really good game today. If Shador plays a bad game, it comes off badly. Joe Burrow he's in damage control mode since making that remark about football not being so much fun. Now he's saying how much fun it is. I think Cincy at home should beat Cleveland. They always close strong Cincinnati. A competitive game, 23-17. I think Garrett does get a sack.
I go the opposite here. I agree with you regarding Shador Sanders. He's been given the opportunity. He's been a mixed bag. He's had a 300, almost 400-yard game against one of the worst defenses with the Raiders. He's going up against another pretty pedestrian, mediocre defense. So I think I'm going to give a bold statement and say that he's probably going to throw for another 300-yard game here. And with Myles Garrett motivated trying to get his last sack, I like them in an upset here. I like them to hold Joe Burrow and company to maybe 20 points or so and get the win here with Shedeur throwing 300 yards, maybe 2 TDs. Because you're right, Jack. He has to show that if he wants to be the guy for next year, he's got to show that he can actually do it again and be consistent. Mind you, regardless of the poor offensive line play, you still got to go out there and do what you figure out a way to win. He's got to go out there and figure it out. And I'm not going to hold him, I'm not going to hold his hand or anything like that. And I don't think he would want you to, coming from a great stock like Deion Sanders. I think he's a competitor. He wants to win. And so I think he hasn't made any excuses. He doesn't do that when he goes to the podium. I like the kid. But again, in this game, I think they're going to upset the Bengals, and it'll be close, maybe 20-19 or something like that.
James, but if he plays a bad game, the thought's going to enter my mind and your mind for the first time. I think your mind for the first time. Maybe the team drafted him so low based on what his potential really was, the way they saw it. Maybe we saw something else from what they genuinely saw.
I can't put that in my mind, I'll be honest with you, only because I've watched him all the way up. I've watched him all the way up, and I think that the talent is extremely there. And with that said, this is where I have to put the situation is not having all the assets that you need, particularly the offensive line. It's been bad. I mean, there's like 4 no starters, 4 people. I think all 4 or all 5 that are like the second or third string offensive linemen, and that's just been bad. And then, of course, having players like Jerry Jeudy not be consistent, the different things like that. I mean, you see his connection with Harold Fanning, the rookie. They've been on point. So it's been a mixed bag. But again, some of it's his fault. The holding the ball too long, that kind of thing. That's some of the things he's been working on. But I would say that I think if you're truly evaluating, there's things you have to kind of minus and take away to say that some of these things isn't his fault. You've seen enough talent. The things that are his fault are things that are workable. We can fix those things. But I think enough to say that this quarter. Now, if you had, let's just say, if you had someone that was just a sure shot in the draft, then you take that player. I'm just going to be honest with you. Regardless of Shedeur Sanders or whoever they got back there, if there was a Dan Marino or a John Elway that was being drafted in 2026, and I have the option to get that player, I'm going to grab that player, and either trade Shedeur or have him as a backup. But there's nobody in this draft class that to me that would say that I would take another quarterback over what Shedeur has produced thus far, that I can take him and work with him and build around him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Shedeur as being their quarterback for 2026 at this point.
Well, the rumor mill is going out, and I know Sonia just posted something about it, but I've read this earlier, too, about them not moving on from Stefanski and then Shedeur having a part of the hiring process for the coach. Now, I know we had this conversation before, Jack, about I can already tell what you're going.
Now, with Shedeur Sanders being in the hiring process, I would sooner say NFL games are scripted than to believe that would take place. That is ludicrous. They're complete idiots, the Browns organization. For him to have part in the hiring process, the owner's an idiot because it would be coming from ownership. Come on. That means
ownership is the one that's going to probably get rid of Stefanski anyway.
Why not allow Dion to buy 5% of the team while you're at it? Be a minority owner. Oh,
it doesn't make a difference how many bad teams he's played. It's how he performs against those bad teams. That's the whole point. He's a rookie, so really, it's bad quarterback versus bad defenses. If you look at it in that kind of light. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback, but what I'm saying is Yeah,
And
like
experience.
James
gotta play.
says, we
Inexperienced,
got a
yeah.
number of games we got to cover here.
Yeah.
I was going off a little, and James was on Shador, but
Well,
we got
James,
a number of other games.
that's his guy. That's Shador's his guy.
No, Isaiah Thomas is James's guy, not Shador Sanders.
They both are. Yes.
Anyway, let's go to this game. Get this out of the way. The New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Who you got, James? Well, I know who you got, but
well, I mean, let me say this. The Saints are without. I mean, there's so many implications, as we mentioned. I'm not going to beat that dead horse, but the outcome of the NFC South, who would have thunk it that it's dependent on the two teams in the bottom of the South. The winner, the winner of the South will be dependent upon this game today, and it won't be either of these teams that are playing. And it's crazy to even think that. The Falcons are a highly talented team. Their offense is ridiculous with players. I mean, and we got the guy that's leading the league in Bijan Robinson in yards from scrimmage, and so he can go off at any moment. But at the same time, the Saints defense has improved to where they're in the top 10 right now, and they've been really good and stout against the run. So we'll see how they do. I just think the biggest issue and the blow to the Saints right now, they've been red hot with 4 straight wins under the guise of their talented rookie, Tyler Shuck. Chris Olave is not there. He has a pulmonary embolism, if people want to know the scientific word for a blood clot in the lungs. But he's expected to recover well, and but he won't be playing in today's game. They're going to be dependent on Dante Ellis. I forgot Dante Pettis to take over, and a couple other second and third string guys, and their tight end, which is Jawan Johnson. He's been on a tear. He's had nothing but career highs here, but I just don't see the Saints winning this game. I just think the blow with not having Chris Olave is going to be too much for them. And as much as I love Tyler Shuck and love the fact that he's likely the future there as their franchise guy, I just think it's going to be too much at Atlanta, and this is going to propel Atlanta to win the game, and thus pushing forward Carolina Panthers into the playoffs.
Well, I'm sure the officials, when they're sitting in their room, they got a call from NFL headquarters informing them the NFL prefers that the Buccaneers get in the playoffs and not the Panthers, so they'll officiate the game accordingly. I'm only joking. That's how ridiculous it is. I mean, come on. But you make a good point about Chris Olave there. And the Saints have won 4 in a row. So you kind of wonder, I mean, they're not that good to win 5 in a row. We say, I mean, they weren't that good to win 4 in a row. I mean, the year they've been much better than I thought this year. I thought they'd be the worst team in the NFL. And it's been a decent year for the Saints, no matter what happens today, because they have building blocks. They got their quarterback. It would seem for now, at least with Shuck, the quarterback of the future there. And Atlanta always self-destructs. It's hard to believe, had Atlanta beaten the Jets earlier this year, they'd be playing today to win the division title. And I'm not sold on Atlanta. They nearly blew that game to the Rams. I went to sleep when they were up 18 points. It was late. I was tired. I figured the Falcons have this, and they could have blown that game to a Ram team that's been struggling the last month. I get the feeling I picked the Falcons to go 7-10 in the beginning of the year because I know what they're all about. If they lose today, they'll be 7-10. I kind of feel the Saints, logic says that the Falcons should win the game, but if the Saints stop Robinson from running the ball, and their defense has been pretty good, these last few weeks, they win this game. And, I see the Saints finding a way to win a game like 26-23, that type game. And the Bucs then go to the playoffs. If the Falcons win, the Panthers go in. That's what makes it so interesting, this game. Not what's at stake for the two teams playing, but for the two teams not playing.
Yeah. I'm
before you go, let me say this. I will give a caveat to the Saints in regards to their draft. The 2025 draft is probably one of their best since 2020,
Yeah.
2017,
Good job,
because
yeah.
4 of the players that are their starters, and they made the all rookie team. So it's just incredible right now. That really helped them out to be where they are. And that
And
includes
then
Tyler Shuck.
transition. Some of the veterans, are probably this is their last game in all likelihood. So that might play a role in them, playing extra hard, or other players rallying around them. The intangible part of it, I think, favors the Saints a little bit in this game, more so than the Falcons.
Yeah, I like the Falcons, overall as a team because they have a lot of talent on there. However, it's the coaching that's the problem. And I can't depend on the players I can't depend on the players all the time. So you got to play coaching is 50%, players is the other 50%, although the players are the ones that get the job done. However, the coach has got to put them in that position. I just don't have any confidence in Raheem Morris anymore. I just don't. And I got the Saints in this one. I think the Saints have been playing lights out for the last 4 games. Their defense has come up when they need them to come up, and that's what they're riding on right now. And Shook has just been he's been pretty damn good. He's been pretty good. You can't take that away from that young guy. So I got the Saints in that one. Next game that we're going to go to is let's see here. Let's go to the Green Bay at Minnesota. Really, this game is not being played for anything. Basically, Green Bay is sitting Jordan Love. They're going to start Willis, I believe. And J.J. McCarthy is starting for Minnesota. So who you got here, James?
So the Packers, just correct me if I'm wrong, but they have locked a playoff spot, right? Wild card?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that said, I mean, I still like Willis to come in and beat the Vikings. The Vikings they're great defensively, I think, but offensively, I know Justin Jefferson wants his 1,000 yards, and they're going to try to get it for him. But who's the quarterback? Who's playing?
J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, he is playing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I had the Packers.
Better get Jefferson his 1,000 yards, because if he doesn't get Jefferson that's going to be bad moving forward. The perception of McCarthy.
Well, it's also going to make him look bad too. It's going to make him look bad too, because he's gone up to bat for JJ recently and said, "Look, I want him to come back next year."
He's the ultimate team player.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about these prima donna wide receivers. Justin Jefferson's the exact opposite.
Definitely. I'm still going to go with Green Bay. I'm going to pick Green Bay to win in a close one.
I hope it does.
Well, I'm going to tell you, James, we were talking a moment ago about what's at stake for all these quarterbacks. What about Malik Willis? He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and he's played very well in the backup role. And even myself, as a Jet fan who's thinking of what I would do as a GM, if he plays really well in this game, I look towards maybe signing Malik Willis, maybe not even drafting a quarterback, maybe drafting Reuben Baines, for example, or whoever else, with the early pick, and rolling with Malik Willis, and then maybe taking Carson Beck in the 3rd round or whatever. The only
problem I have with that is that, do you have someone that's a nurturer of quarterbacks, or that can guide a quarterback to be able to play and get the best out of him in the building in New York?
No, because the Jets, you never have that. So
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly. So are you going to ruin the kid's career by bringing him there? Because mind you, it wasn't all cherries. It wasn't all sweet cherries in Tennessee. But when he got to Green Bay, I mean, that coach knows how to deal with quarterbacks there.
I know, but eventually you'll hit on your guy. It's hit and miss with a lot of organizations. we see all these backups. You know, we're talking about Sam Darnold, what happened with him there. But with this game, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with Green Bay to win, maybe because I want my pick to be good. I said the Vikings would go 8-9. That was my prediction on the year. They're 8-8. Maybe to just make it look good. The Packers aren't playing for anything, but are the Vikings really playing for anything? I know 9-8 is better than 8-9. I'm not, after the year they had last year, the way they dipped this year, I can't think they're going to be so motivated to say, oh, we want a winning record. The players are probably saying big deal. And I'm going to go with the Packers with their backup crew even to beat the Vikings. So essentially, their starters are nearly the equivalent of the Packer backup crew outside of obviously Justin Jefferson and a couple other guys.
Yeah, Minnesota does have a smidgen to play for. It's called the basement of the NFC North. And right now, they're tied with Detroit as far as that goes, and Detroit's at the bottom. Now, if Detroit wins against Chicago and they lose against Green Bay, Detroit will be in third place. Those are NFC things. That's for the NFC people. They understand the North people. They understand that whole situation. But Minnesota is favored by 10.5 points, which I think is huge, a huge spread for that game. But I think Green Bay, I think Malik can get it done. I think that also that Jefferson gets his 1,000 yards too. I think JJ is going to make it his point to get that ball to him, especially after all the kind things he said about him. So he's going to try to do that. If he forces it in there, he forces it in there. I mean, what he's got to say. And Green Bay will probably insert Diggs. Diggs is ready to go out there, so it'll be a perfect time for him to get acclimated to the Green Bay defense. So put him out there. It'll be great for Diggs too. But I got Green Bay winning. I guess this is an upset since they're favored by 10.5. Minnesota is, but I don't know.
My question is: are any of the Green Bay offense, or have they been set down as well, like the starters at wide receiver and running back?
I don't think there's too many sitting down. Let's see.
Because I'm wondering, that's such a high spread. 10 is a lot.
I think they do have. Well, they got Wicks is doubtful. He's probably not going to play anyway because he's in concussion protocol. Let's see. Really, everybody else is good to go. Zach Tom,
Watson and Romeo Doubs, are they playing?
Yeah, I don't see them on the injury report. I don't even see them as listed as questionable. So they're probably playing. They're the thing about Green Bay is right now, I am not confident at all. Even with them not being in the playoffs, I don't feel confident they're going to win the first game anyway. I think they're going to get smoked, to tell you the truth. Their mentality has fallen off because they've lost, Parsons, and the defense is showing that too. The defense has fallen back a step. Their offense isn't good. Jordan is. They really got to get to thinking about him in the future too. I mean, I know they already paid him a little bit, but this is going to go on his fourth year next year. He needs to show a lot of improvement. I mean, he really does. His long passes have no touch on them. It's either over the receiver's head or doinks in front of him in the dirt. So he's got to get that together. You're a third-year quarterback. Actually, you're a 6-year quarterback because you've been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. So, I mean, dude, you got to get it together. I don't expect that out of a 6-year quarterback. But yeah, like I said, Green Bay, I got Green Bay winning that win because I kind of want Detroit not to be in last place. But anyway, that's just a homer thing. Next one we got here is the Indianapolis Colts going against the Houston Texans in Houston. Houston's got something to play for because if Jacksonville chokes on their game, then Houston will win that division. Who you got there, James?
So I think that the Colts are going to lose, but I think they're going to make it competitive because Jonathan Taylor has something to play for. Just like Justin Jefferson had something to play for in 1,000 yards. Jonathan Taylor's trying to get the rushing crown. He's got over 1,500 yards. He's just maybe like 40 or 50 yards behind James Cook in but running, I don't think he's going to get it though. I think he's going up against a very formidable defense in the Texans at home in Houston, and I think that it's going to be a valiant effort. But I don't think they're gonna win that game. I like the Texans to win this game, and I think they're gonna win because they're playing for the South. They gotta win this game. So everybody's playing, everybody's on board, and the Jags they need the Jags to lose as well. So they got to win. So they're gonna play hard, and they need the Jags to lose. But it's gonna be all for naught for Jonathan Taylor. So they'll lose that game. And I got Houston.
Yeah, Riley Leonard, their third string quarterback, isn't going to, beat the Houston Texans. I mean, they're not going to go into Houston and win that game. Indiana's demoralized, and they're going to wind up 8-9, actually. I mean, Houston should win by a couple of touchdowns. Maybe it'll be a low-scoring game because the Colts defense might show up. I could see a 24-10 type game. Jonathan Taylor motivated. Yeah, final game, you're motivated to win the rushing title, but he seemed to have that wrapped up. I mean, no one talks about Jonathan Taylor cooling off this season, when we talk about the Colts' difficulties. Why was that? Is that on Jonathan Taylor? Is it on the offensive line? Has he been hurt? I mean, who knows? In any event, if you talk about collapses this season, I mean, maybe that's something on the debate show at the end of the regular season. Which team had the greatest collapse? I'll tell you right now, if the Bucks don't make the playoffs, their name will be in. The Colts' name is going to be in, and I'm sure one or two more, maybe even the Rams if they lose today and lose in the playoffs. I don't know, but Houston should win by a couple of TDs.
Yeah, Houston should win. I think this game is going to be close because, to James' point all season, he's been saying the Colts defense has been pretty good, and they have been. They've won a lot of those games too. Don't let the offense fool you. Jonathan Taylor's been running, but that's been because of the mix of the defense too. The defense has been playing really well, and Sauce Gardner is playing. So with Sauce being out there, that'll probably shut down Nico a little bit, and that's CJ's main guy, so he's going to have to find other outlets, and they have to run the ball better. But as far as the offensive side for Indianapolis, yeah, Houston's going to shut that down. It's at home too. Oh yeah, they're going to go out into the playoffs with a 9-game winning streak because that's what they have right now, 9 games, and they've been playing some pretty terrific teams too. So it's not like they've skated with these little project teams that they have out here, but they're gonna play and they're gonna win this game. Next, well, then we'll just have to go to the next game that also could be key to the AFC South is Jacksonville and the Titans. Titans are going to Jacksonville. James, who you got?
Yeah, barring any unforeseen miracle or some tragedy that might happen to the Jags, I just think that they're the team that's going to win this division. They should be able to. I like the way Cam Ward's been playing as of late, and when I got a chance to really watch him play when he played the Saints, man, he shows a lot of like Patrick Mahomes type of
makes some good throws. Yeah,
he makes some impressive throws, man. So once they start building around him, look out in that division, but not today. Mm-hmm. I think the Jags are going to win this game, and I think they might win by 14 or so.
Yeah, I mean, Jags should win something like 33-16. I mean, in Tennessee, they've given a pass this year. Cam Ward's given a pass. He's been allowed to develop. It's a different situation than than most other rookie quarterbacks have. I'm not sure how good Cam Ward's ultimately going to be. I think he'll be okay, but I'm not sold on him being a great quarterback on forward. Let's wait and see. I'm not sold against it either, but because he could throw across his body and give you a highlight throw now and then. I mean, we see that stuff at the combines all the time. I mean, that's why the Jets whipped on Zach Wilson, taking him number 2 overall, because he could give you those fancy throws. But, can't see if the Jaguars stumble in this game and they somehow lose to Tennessee, unless they're playing their backups, what does that tell us about the Jags? Maybe we shouldn't have given them a pass, that they're better than we think. But Jags are just too good.
Yeah, I even though I've been trying to believe in the Jags. I really have. When they went to Denver and beat Denver, it gave me my ears perked up a little bit about that whole situation. There's just something that's just not right about the Jags right now to me. That's screaming to me that they're gonna be making it through the playoffs. There's something I just can't put my finger on. It's making me feel uncomfortable. But Jacksonville should win this game. And to your point, James, yeah, Cam Ward, I've watched a couple of his games. Tough as it is to watch the Tennessee Titans right now. But he gets in there, he can make some throws. And it's not just the great, across your body throws. It's more like he can put the ball on a quarterback, put the ball on a receiver if he has to. I've seen him do that. He's really good. He just needs more, a little bit more around him, more offensive linemen, basically maybe a couple more weapons. I mean, he's good with the running back situation. Spears is great. And they got that other running back, Pollard. Pollard's been doing a hell of a job this year too. He's another guy. So, I mean, Titans got a base that they're running with right now. And also the rookie quarterback who has gotten over 1,000 yards is one of the Tennessee's all-time rookie. He has set a rookie record, I believe, for the Tennessee Titans and the receiver, DK. That's what his name is.
DK.
Yeah, DK. Yeah. And so, I mean, they got promise. The future's looking a little bit brighter for Tennessee. All they got to do is get a decent head coach, and they should be fine. But in this instance, Jacksonville's got this one because they're playing for number one spot, and they definitely don't want Houston to get that because they've already lost to Houston once, so they don't want to go through all that again. So I got Jacksonville in that. Next one will be the. Let's see here. Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. LA's figured to win by 14 points, which I mean the Rams really have nothing to play for either. They got their playoff spot regulated, so they should be fine. I don't even know what they're going to do, if they're going to start Stafford or what they're going to do. I'm pretty sure they are. I think they're in that mode where they want to. Sean McVay usually does play his players before the playoffs, even if they got something settled down. So we'll see what happens. James, what you got?
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to play their players because they're coming off two pretty much embarrassing losses, and so you don't want to go into the playoffs just kind of like on a bad note. You definitely want to go in and make sure you're right, exactly, crawling across the finish line. So you definitely want to make sure that everybody's playing, and and if they're blowing them out, maybe by the second or third quarter, obviously you're going to sit Stafford down and sit some of your starters down, but definitely they need to win this game for sure. And I got them winning. I got the Rams winning.
They talk about seeding, and coaches say they're not concerned with it unless they can get the bye. And most of the time, I believe they are telling the truth. But in this case, Coach McVay is very aware of the seeding. If they win, they're the 5th seed. They play at either Carolina or Tampa Bay in the first playoff game. But if you lose and you wind up being the 6th seed, you wind up playing at either Chicago or Philadelphia, probably Chicago, which is kind of like a less friendly environment. It's cold. It's, the weather, the Bears have a little more upside at this particular moment. But I don't think, with that said, I don't think the Rams could lose to the Cardinals even if they tried to tank it. That's how much better they are. So the Rams should win, decisively, like 35-7. The Cardinals, when we talk about disappointments this year, I mean, maybe they're amongst the biggest disappointments in the NFL. They're flat out not good.
Yeah, they disappointed me a whole heck of a lot because I picked them to finish second in that division.
I picked them to win that division, I think. I mean, what a fool that I look like now.
Yeah, and then I picked Seattle to be like one of the last two teams there, so I look really good in that one. So, but anyway, yeah, I got the Rams winning that one fairly easily. Um, Next game we'll get to is the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears. This game actually has some kind of interest in it because Caleb Williams is 270 yards passing to get 4,000 yards, which no quarterback ever for Chicago has ever gotten. So ever. And I do believe he's going to get it this game. But go ahead, James.
I agree with you. I think Ben Johnson's going to have something in store for him to get that, because not only does it help them get that record, but it also helps him get a win. And I think I think the Bears are going to win that game at home. It's just going to be tough. I'm disappointed in the Lions to say I've been picking them all season long. And I just think that they just had a lot of stuff going on, and whether it be within coaching, within injury, they're too talented of a team. They should bounce back next year, but I'm be interested to see who they're going to get in for their offensive coordinator. And I think that's really going to hurt them in this game. And I think the Bears, they wish they have something to play for. They're trying to get, that second seed. I think is a second seed that they would get.
Yeah, the second seed, yeah.
Yeah, so to get the second seed, and they're going to go for this win, and I think the Bears are going to get it, and at 4,000 yards.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to you, Brian, in 1 second with the big question that no one's talking about. It's coach against coach in a sense. Ben Johnson, who was Dan Campbell's longtime offensive coordinator. What was their relationship? I'm going to, right after I give my pick, I want to know, is there going to be real competition for Ben Johnson to want to beat Dan Campbell? That's the thing about it, too. It's his old team also. You always want to beat your old teams. I'm going to go with the Bears on the squeaker. Let's call it 24-22, a field goal at the end of the game. And I don't think there's much interest outside of Chicago and Caleb Williams going for 4,000 yards, because we know he's still a developing quarterback. We won't look at him as an elite quarterback regardless of that, not at this point at least. But what's the relationship with Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell?
I mean, when he was here, I don't think it was more of a business relationship I think they had when they were here. And he was the one that appointed Ben Johnson in 2022 as the offensive coordinator. So, I mean, he believed in him enough to appoint him to that position. And you got to remember, in that year, they started 1-6. So, and they let him have the reins, which is the whole reason why I'm not understanding this latest coaching fiasco that Campbell has with Morton. But anyway, I think they're very good professionals. I think they're friends. I mean, they're still friends. I mean, Dan Campbell says they're friends. I think it's a battle of egos with both of them. And Ben Johnson, because he's such an outstanding play caller, he got most of his way in the last 3 years he's been here, because he's proven his worth to the fact that the Ford family has paid Ben Johnson to stay another year as an offensive coordinator. And in fact, he was getting more money than the head coach was at one point. So with that being said, and I think it's more Dan and his ego, we don't need you, Ben, kind of thing, because we can beat you. And I think this is the whole situation that went on through the whole season with the Lions. It's just, dude, you got to stop doing that. I also picked the Bears to win this game because the secondary from the Lions right now is just incredibly bad. They've given up 1,600 yards in the last 4 games. That's 400 yards a game. That's bad. And I think it's going to be a shootout, to tell you the truth, because Chicago's defense is not that good. Now, they get a lot of turnovers. I give them credit for that. But that covers up the fact that they can't play defense. That's you see what San Francisco was doing to them. So that's a telltale sign right there, and you can't be having that in the playoffs. This is one of the reasons why I don't think Chicago is going to be a Super Bowl team this year, because of that fact. They got to get that defense straightened out. But yeah, I got Chicago beating. I got Caleb getting that record too, or getting that 4,000 yards, so he can be the first quarterback in Chicago Bears history. I mean, I know nobody outside. Well, there are people that are outside Chicago that are interested in that because they never had a 4,000-yard passer before.
Yeah, we have 4 more games. We have to, we got to move it along. Yeah,
we're good. So yeah, I got Chicago in that one. The next one, which is the other implication of the number 2 seed, is the Commanders at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 4.5. I think Philadelphia's start is sitting some of their starters, not all of them. So who do you got on that one, James?
So I'm going to go with the Commanders because Jalen Hurts is not playing, and I think a lot of their offensive players aren't playing. So yeah, I got the Commanders in that one, just because they're going to play for pride and want to win that game, regardless of who's playing.
I think something happened a couple of weeks when they played a couple of weeks back that the Commanders said they'll see them in a couple of weeks. Something went down that was personal. When I think the Eagles should win this game with room to spare because as much as we want to say that the Eagles are not playing for much at this point, either the second or third seed. What are the Commanders really playing for? I mean, come on. I mean, look at it that way. And I think maybe it's an opportunity for A.J. Brown to catch a couple of touchdowns and, individual stats, this, that. I don't know. I mean, I think the Eagles should win, but in meaningless games sometimes, nothing shocks you a last game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like riding with where James is going with this too, because if they're not starting a lot of their starters for Philadelphia, they're already don't have the best offense right now because of the offensive play calling. Because there's like, can you imagine if they don't say Saquon or Jalen Hurts playing, where they're going to go from that point?
It's in Philadelphia, so the Nick Sirianni might not throw the game away because it's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, that's Nick Sirianni for you. And really, I think Philadelphia's not really caring about where they're sitting at. Third is good for them. I don't really think they're trying to vie for the second seed anyway. But yeah, I think Washington has a pretty good chance of winning this one because of Philadelphia. So it's surprising they're still favored by 4 though, but that's okay. I'll take Washington on that one. Okay, then Jack, we got your Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 7.5. Buffalo, I don't think they have anything to play for either. Yeah, because I think that they can't. Oh, can they win the division? No,
they're not Buffalo.
Yeah, so they ain't got nothing to play for. They ain't got nothing to play for.
Josh
so who you got?
Playing. If you're a Jets fan, you're lying if you say you want them to win the game. I mean, if they win the game, you're not going to be root. It's hard to root against your team while they're playing. But let's be honest about it. Jets in a prime position, now to get, probably Dante Moore, assuming he declares for the draft. He might not declare for the draft. Maybe Oregon wins a national championship and he stays. I don't know. Whatever. What bothers me about the Jets isn't just losing games, how they're losing. They're non-competitive. I'm not talking about moral victories. They're non-competitive. They've gotten worse as the years went by. Aaron Glenn says he's building something. It's going in reverse. It's terrible. They're non-competitive. The tackling's bad. I'm not saying they don't care. Maybe they don't care, but they're just plain bad.
You are not going to see him building anything in his first year. He's trying to build something. You got to give him a year.
It's
the same thing they said about Dan Campbell. This is what I'm trying to tell you. He comes from that same cloth.
Games they're losing, to how they're losing these games. Watching them on the field, they're playing like they don't.
Detroit was losing like that in the beginning too.
They're not playing hard. I see the naked eye watching the games. They are not playing hard. And I at least want to see that today. Regardless of what the score is, I want to see them being competitive, playing hard. They haven't had one interception this year. I mean, it's bad.
That's tough, yeah.
It's
so
bad.
Look, I'm going to say
Buffalo should win.
Who you picking?
Like 35-6. Yeah, we don't have much time. Buffalo.
You got the Bills? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long the starters are going to play for Buffalo. It depends on, I guess, how much they run up the score. But I know James Cook is leading the league in rushing. So he wants to keep it that way. He knows Jonathan Taylor's on his tail. So he's probably going to get maybe a first half, 3 quarters if they're up that much. If they're up, they'll sit the starters at maybe the beginning of the third quarter, mid third quarter, and go from there. I just like they don't have a lot to play for in regards to seeding. So I like the Bills to win this, and unfortunately, the Jets they'll be playing for their top seed.
Yeah, I got Buffalo in this too, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer because I think these players are playing for they're playing for the right to be playing on the Jets next year. I think this is one of those things that AG is going to be evaluating. He's going to tell them too. So y'all playing for your jobs next year because he's made no doubt about it, what he wants to do. He wants to get rid of players that are not going to help that team win that any game. So this is part of the process of elimination. This is, like I said, it's the same thing that Dan Campbell did with the Lions in his first year. He went out there. We had a bunch of players on there that we had from Matt Patricia's era that was crap players, and he got rid of those players near the end, at the end of the season because they weren't. He was evaluating them the whole season. He didn't know we weren't going to win. We were going to go 7-10 or anything like that because we didn't have a team like that. So it's a evaluation process for the Jets. And like I said, they'll play probably a better game than most people expect them to get against Buffalo. I don't think they're going to get slaughtered by Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to win by 7 or a little bit more, but they're not going to make it bad. That's for sure. Next game we have is Chargers and the Broncos. Broncos are playing for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, we have 3 games. They got to really move this along.
I thought we covered the Broncos.
We covered that game. We have 2 games.
We covered that game.
So we only got the other game don't really make a difference. It's the Chiefs and the Raiders. I mean, who you got?
That's an intriguing game, guys, because the players are going to not be told they can't play hard. The Chiefs have been so bad. The Chiefs are mailing it in, basically, and they're going to Las Vegas. The Chief players can't wait to go home, I'm sure. This season has been a disaster, let's be honest about it. And the Raiders want that number 1 pick in the worst way. Can you imagine the Raiders win this game? Now Fernando Mendoza is probably going to be a Jet. How do you like that? I mean, it throws things out of whack. The Raiders are so bad, they might actually win this game to foul things up. But I'll go with the Chiefs when all is said and done. They should win the game, but it's not a lock.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Max Crosby is playing basketball, even though he's supposed to be hurt. Brock Bowers is out. I mean, come on. There's no way. They talk about tanking. This is specifically a team that literally is like, okay, put these guys down specifically because they know, look, we want to go ahead and try to get that number 1 draft pick. And they're going to get it. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. They're not going to win big, but they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I'd simply say I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. The next one, I'm not putting my time into that. The Ravens versus the Steelers for the number 1 spot in the AFC North and a playoff spot, obviously. Who you got, James? Jack? Okay, Jack, you go.
Okay, sure. I mean, Ravens should win the game. They had the opportunity to wrap up the division of Steelers against Cleveland. We knew that. You lost that game in part maybe because DK Metcalf's suspension. And now they're faced, even though the game's at Pittsburgh, you could sense that the Steelers are doomed. They're doomed because you could sense the Ravens have maybe got it together. Now Lamar Jackson has his mojo back. Wow, we win this game, we win the division. I'm ready for the playoffs. And regardless of their record going into the playoffs, the Ravens might be as good as any team in the AFC now. We'll see today. Ravens should win by a couple of touchdowns. I think Pittsburgh, they blew the opportunity with Cleveland, and they have no wide receivers, no running game, the Steelers per se. Ravens 28-14.
The reason why I let you go first, Jack, because we both at the beginning of the season picked the Ravens to make it to the Super Bowl. And for a moment there, we thought that it wasn't going to happen. I mean, we looked like they were falling off. Lamar Jackson's not playing. His back's hurting. but now it looks like they given the carries to Derrick Henry, and I think that's going to be the formula is to take a little bit of the load off Lamar Jackson and allow Derrick Henry to run the ball a lot more. He is capable of carrying the load literally and figuratively, and you can put it on his back and allow Lamar Jackson to have a little bit of a breather to be able to come in and do what he does as well. And it's going to open the game up more if Lamar Jackson can be there. And the biggest thing here is DK Metcalf's not in this game.
Well, James, let me cut in. Let me make a case for Pittsburgh. TJ Watt's playing, and he's psyched. No restrictions. He's their emotional leader. So if I'm going to look at an intangible to make a case for Pittsburgh, you don't know how that might lift them.
Potentially, but I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I pick the Ravens to win this game, maybe by 7 to 10 points.
Yeah, I got the Ravens too. Pittsburgh's not only without DK Metcalf, but their rookie sensation tight end. What's his name? The big boy. That's like 320, can run real fast. That guy, that rookie.
Wait, who?
Washington.
Right.
Washington. Yeah, Darnell Washington, and he's not playing either, and that makes a big consideration difference too, because that means he's usually in there to block, but that dude is athletic as heck, and he's a big dude. He can run people over. They don't have that. They won't have that this game, and blocking for the run game is another thing that he does. He won't be there for that, so your run game is going to suffer a little bit. I just don't see Pittsburgh. I don't care if TJ Watt is playing. TJ Watt's played in plenty of these games, and the Ravens have beat him. So I'm not going all in for that just for TJ Watt. The Ravens are going to win this game, I think, as long as John Harbaugh decides he wants to run. That's the most important part, because he's stubborn when he gets to these points. He doesn't like running. He doesn't run like running Henry. For some reason, it's mind-boggling the things that he does in the play calling part. But if he sticks to his guns and he says, hey, let's run Henry, take some load off of Lamar because he is coming off of some injuries, just let him play light, then they'll win that game decisively, like you said, Jack. Anyway, so that'll bring us to our latest slate of games. Hope everybody enjoys those today. There's a lot of yawners, but there's a lot of ones that have something on the line in every one of these games. Well, in most of these games, whether it's draft position, records, or number one seeds. So everybody enjoy your games. Thanks for listening. Join Jack and Keith. Go ahead, James.
I will say everybody's going to be tuned into that Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints game for sure, without a doubt.
Well, that to me, you talk about game of the day. For some reason, I want to watch that game because of the other teams more than any other single game, even more than Pittsburgh and the Ravens, because somehow I believe it's inevitable that the Ravens are going to win. Maybe I shouldn't say that, in a way I'm rooting for Aaron Rodgers. Wouldn't it be funny, guys, if we had a crystal ball and we could look to see who the Super Bowl matchup would be, and we see Packers versus Steelers? Wouldn't that be crazy? That's not going to happen, but if there's alive, can you imagine Rodgers against the Packers, the drama and all that? That would be a lot of fun.
It would. If I had a crystal ball to see that, I would want to know how did you get to that point for sure.
Right. How did you get to that point?
Yeah.
But in saying that,
Crystal Ball and Jets go number 1 overall in the draft. Raiders Chiefs is a game of interest because of the draft picks. The other game, seeing the draft order, that's interesting too.
Well, that's what I covered. Yes, I did say that was interest in those games. If you're a person on those teams that need to be drafted, yes. But anyway, do join Jack and Keith tomorrow morning for Weekend Playbook at 8 a.m. And then at 7 p.m., Jack's going to have a special guest with Frank on the Gloved Fist. So tune in for that. All our other platforms you can catch in our outro. So everybody have a great day. Good day of football. Peace out.